Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello, and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that shall soon be changing its name to Shaun Watches Stuff. My name is Tosin, and I am your host, based up in Coventry in the Midlands. And joining me as ever on the Isle of Wight are Sharon.
Hello.
And the man who shall soon change his name officially to Beast Mode, Shaun.
Hello there. Hiya.
Right, so we are talking about this because obviously cinemas are back. This is the second one of our cinemas are back shows. So with the last ones we called them we miss cinemas shows, and now all of a sudden cinema's back, and it's kind of like, cinema is back, #1, return to cinema. What we're gonna do? This is the second one, and Shaun has done it again. Shaun has gone into beast mode. I had a week in which I was just kind of like, wait, whoa, what happened? A week has gone. I actually don't think I've finished watching anything. I sent a message out on our WhatsApp group asking Sharon. Sharon says, I've been to the cinema, but I've seen something on iPlayer. And then Shaun comes back and goes, I've seen this, I've seen that, I've seen this. So Shaun, would you like to take us through the rundown of the things you have managed to see this week?
Okay, the things I've managed to see, I guess it would be, so I've seen all the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they were all the extra bits.
Extended.
All the versions with the extended versions.
So the 4.5 hour versions.
The 4.5 hour versions, yeah. 4.5 hours that seemed like 40 minutes. So that was like, I didn't plan on seeing them all, and it's really, really funny. And then I watched it.
And these are all in the cinema, to be clear. These were all in the cinema.
Yes, definitely. And I went, and it was in screen 11, and I was practically the only person in there. So I had and it was, the screen was monstrous, and it was lovely 4K, and it was just because I thought I would just sort of see the one of them, and I thought so I watched the first one, the Fellowship, and then I thought, and I and I thought, no, I'm going to get a ticket and go and watch the Two Towers. So I did. So I watched the Two Towers. I had a 2 hour. I cycled. Funny enough, I cycled along the cycle track to go and watch Lord of the Rings, and then I thought, yeah, I'm going to go back. So I cycled back and took my car because I haven't got any lights on my bike.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh man, this is so good. This is so good. I'm going to have to go and see the Return of the King. So I did that the next day. And, that was a big 4.5 hour one, and it was just lovely and sumptuous. And I mean, the big screen, because those extended versions have never, ever been on the big screen.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Extended versions.
I definitely would have liked to have seen them, but they're just on the wrong days for me. So I was thinking I would have loved to have seen that. I have seen all the extended versions, but obviously not at the cinema.
The mouth of Sauron and all that, and they just make so much more sense. And I've got to be honest, I just thought, this is why I love the cinema. That they need to be seen. These are films that need to be seen at the cinema. And it was cool, and it was air conditioned, and perfect conditions to go and watch a giant, luxurious, excellent, fantastic movie. And it was a movie experience. It was a total fabulous experience.
So you saw Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers on one day.
Yes.
And then you came back the next day to see Return of the King.
It's Return of the King.
So the first day, what time did that start, and what time did you actually get out of the cinema to go home?
Okay, so it started at midday, and I came out. It came out about 4:25 to 5.
For the
I
first
cycled
film.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, for the first film, I cycled, and then Two Towers started at 6 o'clock. So I cycled back. I've got it's a bit cheaty really, because I've got an electric bike. So and it's quite good. That's a good track I've been. So I got back. I got back about 5.
Oh, because obviously you live in Cowes now, so obviously it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for those of you who do not know the Isle of Wight, those of you who have never had those of you who have never had the privilege of being either a Corkhead or an Overner. So
that's it.
Yeah. For those of you who never had it, so Shaun is talking. You might think the Isle of Wight is tiny, but Cowes is probably, from the cinema, to drive from my house when I was living in Cowes to the cinema, probably took me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes with traffic. And on a bike, that's like, a 40-minute thing. So you cycle all the way back, and so you cycle all the way back and bring your car back.
Yeah. Well, because the joy was, what the good thing was, is that when I cycled to see the Fellowship, I left my bike in the shed at work and I put it on charge.
Oh,
so
yeah.
And it is a bit of an old. I mean, it's legal, but they don't have the twist grip anymore. But this one's quite old, so it's got like a twist grip.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, and the cycle path, which from Newport to it was so easy to cycle, Tosin. It was all cycle lanes.
Yeah, no, I know. I used to do that. I used to do that cycle.
Yeah.
Come on down around about the Quay, like Black House.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
So that was it. And then on the Sunday, I sort of took it fairly easy, and then I went to see the 6 o'clock, the Two Towers, and I came out just before 11, probably, just sort of after. So, but it didn't seem. I mean, it was four odd hours, and it really didn't seem like that. It seemed like 40 minutes.
Was there an interval, or did you go straight?
No,
through?
There was no interval. It was all the way through, and I just lost myself in it, and it was just great. And I even have to say, at some moments, there was even a little tear.
Oh.
And a tear of happiness and and it was just like, yeah. When I think of the whole films, I used to like the Two Towers the best.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it, and I thought, oh, the Fellowship was really, really, really good, because that was probably the least favourite of mine. And I thought, that's really good. That's going to be my favourite now. It's going to be favourite. And it still was after I thought of the Towers. I thought, yeah, Fellowship's better. And I thought the Return of the King was always probably my least favourite. But I think that's because when I saw it, the pictures, it was they didn't have the extra bits in, so it didn't make. But the Return of the King is just a masterpiece of cinema, absolutely masterpiece.
Yeah.
Which order did you like, Sharon, when you saw them?
I didn't think I had a favourite, because I took them all as like one huge film, like one 12-hour film. So I've never really separated them in that way. So I don't know. I have a favourite. I think I like Fellowship. It's got Sean Bean in it.
Yeah. Oh! Spoiler for the other two films for anybody who hasn't managed to watch Lord of the Rings in the last 20 years.
but he does actually. He is also in the extended versions.
He's in the extended versions of the other two. Yes.
Yeah, because they sort of regress a little bit to different times. So
yeah, So you do see, especially when you're sort of with Denethor and all the rest of them. Yes, you do see a bit of Boromir.
Okay.
But also yeah. Sorry. What about you, Toes? Because you must have seen them.
Yeah, I've seen the Lord of the Rings. I think, to be totally honest with you, I think I only ever saw them in the cinemas. Never saw them on DVD or anything like that. I know that I knew friends who had the Saturday was Lord of the Rings day, and they would start off 6 o'clock in the morning and just watch all three of them extended versions back to back. And I never did that. So I think I've only ever seen them in the cinema. But I totally agree with you in the fact that I remember watching the first one. It's over 3 hours long, and sitting down there going, that did not feel like 3 hours. And I think the two things.
Do you remember when it ended? Everyone went no, because it ended, and they just wanted it to keep going.
Yeah, I do remember watching it, and my two thoughts were: A, that did not feel like 3 hours, and oh my god, they nailed the look of the book. Which is crazy because I remember even just seeing the trailers, and when they showed the ring wraiths, I was like, "Oh my god, they've nailed it!" And I remember there was one of the trailers that ended, and it ended with Gollum's voice going, "My precious," and you're just like, "Oh my god!" And then you watch the film, and you're like, "Oh, I think Lord of the Rings is one." I'm not sure whether it was just the way that Tolkien. I'm not sure whether it's just that he described things so well that most people only had one picture in the head of what it looked like. But I think Lord of the Rings is one of the few times that there's probably a 90% agreement that they got what was in the books right. Like what was in most people's heads when they read the books is what ended up on screen. And I think it's one of the few times I think I've ever seen that, because usually people go, oh, that's not the way I think he looks. Oh, that's not the way I thought that would happen. Oh, but in Lord of the Rings, those people just went, yeah, that's it. That most people just said that is exactly what I had in my head. So it's quite. So I agree with you. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. But that's just the first thing that we go on to that you saw this week. So Beast Mode. Tell us, what else did you see this week?
Okay, well, at the cinema, I went to see Blackwater Abyss.
Yep.
An Australian movie about a crocodile. And then I watched, on your recommendation from last week,
yep.
On Netflix, I watched The Nightingale.
Yep.
And I was with my landlord. We watched Jackass 3D because he quite fucked, so that was for laugh. So, and then I watched a Vietnam film on Netflix, which was called Danger Close.
Okay.
Which was about, so I mean, so it was a fair old bit. And then I watched loads of little bits on YouTube, like, but it was only lucky that the American, they were going to use Lancasters to drop the atomic bomb, but the Americans didn't like it, so they had to adjust the Liberator or whatever. So just all things like that, just all strange facts and things.
So as I said, as I said that we are in danger of turning this into the Shaun Watches Stuff podcast. So we're gonna be trying to move around Shaun, and we're going to try and not appear so inferior to his watching ability as we go through this week. So Sharon, what did you see?
I saw a French drama called The Last Wave on the BBC iPlayer.
All right, cool.
It started 3 weeks ago, and I'd missed the beginning bits. So I did I didn't quite do a binge watch. I did 3 and 3 episodes, then I watched another 3 episodes. Yeah. So I split it in half on the iPlayer.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't finished watching, like Homeland season 3, because I'm still doing that because I promised Karen, who came on the show, that I would that I would attempt to try and catch up with Homeland and tell her what I think about it. I'm still watching Umbrella Academy. I'm watching season 2. I'm watching Killing Eve season 2. And I just realized I hadn't finished watching anything this week. The week zoomed by. I don't know where it went. However, we have, if you look on our Facebook page, so the Netflix with Cinemas Facebook page and our Twitter page as well, you would see that we have just shared a picture. Because does the name Patrick Russell ring a bell for the two of you?
Patrick Russell.
Yes.
Does it ring a bell?
Yeah, didn't we interview? You interviewed Patrick.
Yes, we interviewed Patrick. And he used to work in a cinema. It's like, he said that he pretty much was born in a cinema and all that. And he's becoming a semi-regular contributor to the show because he actually sent us a picture of the cinema he used to work in. It was the Granada. Oh, wow. Yeah, the Granada in Acton. So if you look on our Facebook page, you'll see he has this old school pictures. Based on the way the man outside is dressed, it must be the 70s. So it's a black and white picture of this old school cinema, the Granada. And he actually says that John Wayne visited it in the 60s when he was doing one of his tours of the UK.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Patrick has done that. Please have a look for that on our Facebook page. And also, I got an email this week. And in addition, this came second in excitement to the one Patrick sent me. And this is an email from Odeon Cinemas.
Oh yes, is it open yet?
Odeon Cinemas. I'm getting closer. It says, "Hi Tosin, as a valued Limitless member, we wanted you to be the first to know that Odeon Nuneaton's doors will reopen from the 21st of August, and we're opening in style with Christopher Nolan's anticipated new release, Tenet." So, essentially, what we predicted on the podcast came to pass. One person opened, a couple of weeks later, the other person opened, a couple of weeks later, Christopher Nolan goes, "All right, fine, you haven't killed anybody, I'll show up." and now, and it's funny because they're opening up and they're showing up the first day that they open, they're showing a bunch of stuff some stuff that I don't particularly want to watch. So I've booked my ticket for Tenet already. But they have Inception. They're showing Inception, the 10th anniversary of that. Yep. They're showing Jurassic Park again on the big screen, showing Onward. And the cinema in Nuneaton, they've made it really, really nice. It has like reclining seats and every seat is a reclining seat. It's really, really nice now. They're showing Onward. As I said, I am so happy Onward is coming back. I am so happy that's being shown again. They're showing Tenet, although not until the 26th of August. And they're showing The Karate Kid.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're showing The Karate Kid. I'm not sure whether it's the original or whether it's the remake, because they show the picture of the original with Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita, but they say in brackets 2020. They're showing Trolls World Tour, the film that created a massive, massive fight between Warner Brothers and the cinemas, because they were supposed to release that in cinemas about a week into lockdown. Lockdown happened, and so they just went and released it on video on demand. And cinemas were like, "How dare you do this?" And it started a big fight, a bit like the Disney and Mulan thing is. And they're also going to be showing Unhinged, so maybe I will go see Unhinged.
Yeah. It'd be interesting.
I'll go see Unhinged for the 4-star first half an hour and the 2-star rest of it. According to Shaun's review from last week. So, right, now, Sharon, because... Okay, no. Shaun, let's start off with you. So, Shaun, give us something from cinema. So, the only thing we've seen in cinema this week is Dark Water Abyss.
Dark Water Abyss, yeah.
So when I hear that, it sounds a bit like, an Australian take on a James Cameron film. But tell me, what is it all about?
Oh yeah, The Abyss. That was James Cameron film. When I go, okay, yeah, it is an Australian film. Seen a lot of Australian stuff lately.
Yeah,
and that will come even more. Yeah, so it's an Australian film. And basically, it's there's a cave. There's two couples, and they found this hidden sort of cave up in the rainforest. So they're like cavers, So they go down.
Yep.
They're like potholers. I mean, I have done potholing, and so I sort of could relate to that side of it in a certain sort of way. Anyway,
I've done it too. It's terrifying.
But isn't it amazing, Tosin? Isn't it amazing that you can get into the smallest cracks? Can't you?
It really is amazing what you can do. But I think one of the scariest things that they did is that our guide who took us down there, he took us into this place. We've gone into this cave, and he went, "Okay, everybody, turn off your lights." And good Lord, you could not see a thing. I was like, if you had a light down there and you broke your light, you have no way of knowing how to get out of that place. You're just stuck on the ground forever. It is freaky.
Well, my experience is when I used to do some youth work, and we went up to Somerset, and we went down in what they call a chamber, where you drop like a rope ladder, like a metal ladder, rope ladder thing.
Yep.
And we got down there, and we was all sat in this chamber going, and then they said, the guy said, "Shaun, you're going to be the last one up because I need you to hold the bottom of the ladder." I was like, "Oh," and it's funny. And it was a long way. And when everyone had got up and they were at the top, they go, "You okay? You okay?" They're sort of, because it was quite a way down. And you're exactly right. And so, although I had my little light on me helmet, it was all dark behind me, hugely dark. And it's really. But I got up. But yeah, that was. So that they must initiate you, I reckon, in things when you do it first of all. But anyway, back to the movie.
Yes.
So they found this new pothole. They're saying, "Oh, this would be." They look up, looks like a bit of a storm. They say, "Nah, there's not going to be a storm. There's not going to be a storm." Anyway, so they go down. Guess what? There's a storm with loads of rain, and it's all coming through, and they can't. They're going, "Oh dear, we can't get out that way. Oh dear, we'll have to find." Anyway, and of course, if the water's coming through, there's suddenly this monster, giant saltwater crocodile that sort of happens to have this little lair there. So it's basically they're in this area, they're sitting on ledges, they're trying to save each other. There's bits falling here, bits falling there. A couple of nasty bits in it, and that's basically the movie, really.
So is it kind of like Jaws with a crocodile underground?
Yeah, basically, yeah. But there's not so much of the underwater stuff. It's more a case of the menacing bits where they're sort of clinging to little ledges, and they're sort of separated, and the water's coming up, and the crocs, going around and all that, and they're going, "Oh no, we got to do something." The water, and a couple of them are injured, so they got to get them up higher. So all the time you've got like this, the water's rising, and then you've got like the hero one that's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to swim for it. I'm gonna have to swim through the."
So how many people are there? How many people are stuck in there? Because you mentioned a couple. Are there more people?
Well, there's no, there's only four. There's only four. I know it sounds like there was loads, wasn't there? There's only four. Hang on, no, five. There's five. There's five of them, and one, obviously, you've got the one that gets munched pretty quick. You know what I mean? So that sort of sets it up. It's like the Star Trek. You know what I mean? Where
the guy in the red coat.
They have the little. Yeah, they have the little minions, don't they? So
Right.
But there's not really anything new, but I did like the crocodile because you actually see his eyes, and it's a real, like, he's sort of looking, So yeah, he's looking at him, and he's like, "Yeah, oh, you're next." But of course, yeah. So yeah. Oh, and there is a little sideline, like, because there's two couples, and one of them ends up being it's not really a spoiler because it's quite early on. One of them sort of pregnant.
Oh yeah.
Is it by the other one of the other couple and all that? So you've got that sort of bit of tension there as well, because there's a bit where one of the wives is looking through the phone and sees some photos that, with the other couple sort of thing, and or with the wife of the other wife. So
so
got that sort of tension. And so do they save each other, or do they, would you like?
So they get a
nasty person. Would you push them in?
They get a little bit of soap opera in there.
Yeah, a little bit of soap opera in there to make it quite interesting.
Okay, so what did you think of that?
I think it's. I didn't like it. It was a fairly short movie. What I mean, didn't like it. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was particularly anything new. I didn't think it was anything gripping.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of bits. There were a couple of bits in it which I thought, well, would you do that? But not to the extent that they have been in films. So I would probably give this would probably merit. Yeah. I mean, what do I give it? Yeah, I'll give it a 3, I suppose. 3.
Oh, 3. A 3.
An average 3. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it didn't really. I didn't get crossy-legged annoyed. Sort of hopping in. Like,
ants in your pants.
Crossy-legged and I huff and puff like ants in the pants. It didn't get me that bad. And I thought, well, at least they tried. And yeah, so I would say, yeah, I think a 3-star because I didn't hate it, so it was okay.
All right, cool.
It was okay.
Good stuff. Because I think we have there's a Shaun scale. There's ants in the pants. There's reclining in seats. And those are the those are the opposite ends of the scale for Shaun watching the film. So if he's reclining in seats and getting lower and lower, this is good. If he's ants in the pants and he's crossing leg and he's turning over and he's going, and if he's just saying, what would you do? Then it's bad. It's not going good for you. It's like if if this is the Colosseum and he's the emperor, you're getting a thumbs down. So it's All right, cool. So now let's go over to Sharon. Sharon, you were talking about French drama, The Wave, that you saw on
The Last Wave. Yeah.
The Last Wave that you saw on iPlayer. Yeah. So tell us, what is this about?
Yes, this is a contemporary French drama it's basically an eco drama, you could say, with a hint of sort of modern science fiction without the tech and the flashiness. Basically, there's this village in the south of France that's on the shore. They have this beautiful beach, and it's an idyllic setting. And they have a surf competition every year because it's good for surf. And during this particular surf competition, there's this strange cloud appears above the waves. And just as the competition is starting, this cloud basically acts not like a normal cloud. It descends, and all of the surfers who are in the competition disappear.
Ooh.
And then they reappear 5 hours later with no concept of having been anywhere. They don't know what happened to them. And when they come back, they all start to exhibit different talents, or they have new gifts. Like a little child who was in one of the junior classes, his eyes have changed colour, and he's got this heightened ability to see through things. So he can see people if they've got something wrong with them. He goes, "Oh, you've got something there," and he can see. Basically, his vision has become heightened to beyond what is the normal natural phenomena.
Yeah.
And someone else has prophetic dreams. Another person can heal. Another person has a highly accelerated pregnancy. So you've got these different elements where these people who have been touched by this cloud, and then the cloud sort of disappears, but whenever it reappears, it sort of foreshadows an event.
Yeah.
And most of these events are basically where the cloud is reclaiming part of the past back again. So where there's been a modern development and they've reclaimed land, basically the cloud descends, and then it's the coastline is back to what it was like before.
Just like Black Gang Chine.
Yes, exactly like Black Gang Chine. And so it's like it's like nature reclaiming itself.
Yeah. For anybody
setting the clock.
For anybody wondering what the heck Black Gang Chine is, especially if you don't live on the Isle of Wight, especially if you're listening to this thing internationally, Black Gang Chine is an area of the Isle of Wight, which is an island of the south coast of England that has been steadily being reclaimed by the sea, shall we say. There's actually a theme park there, and I think there used to be a time where every year you would go there and there were rides you were not allowed to go on because they were being reclaimed by the sea. So hence
the coastline of the island changes constantly.
I do believe Black Gang Chine was the first theme park in the world.
Really?
I do believe that. I believe that's the thing. It's been around for so long, which is why I guess it's being reclaimed by the sea. But I'm pretty certain. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain it's classed as the first theme park ever. The first, because they had they got different lands: nursery land, western land, dinosaur land.
The house that Jack built.
Yeah, the house that Jack built. And I mean, that house that Jack built has got to be ancient, isn't it? But it's still, the kids love it. Upside down house, the little fairyland with the little, you look in the tree. I don't think it was so much rides. I think it was just themes, like different areas.
And they have plastic dinosaurs that you can climb on.
Yeah. Those are a big attraction.
You can't claim an Isle of Wight childhood unless you've climbed on a plastic dinosaur at Black Gang.
But what's really interesting as well with Black Gang, I know we should be talking movies, but they've got like a big pirate at the entrance, and I had a nephew that would go years, and every year we would get a picture of him under the smuggler's legs. Yeah. And you could actually see the height. So if you lined up all the pictures, you could see how much he'd grown. Because he was between the smuggler's legs, So yeah.
Yeah, Black Gang is so named because it was a gang of smugglers. But anyway, so the last wave is very much like Black Gang Chine in that nature will find a way, and it does. And so you see the story through 6 episodes through the lives of this group of surfers, because there's quite a lot of them. They narrow it down to you follow the lives of about 6, so you don't follow like 20 different surfers where you're like going, okay, which one are you again?
Yeah,
it's drawn in, so you focus on this particular smaller group, and then it all comes to a dramatic conclusion at the end of it. So I don't want to give too much away, but you see how the drama is basically in what's going to happen when the cloud comes again, and then how is it going to affect the people who are affected by the cloud, and how it looks at their relationships with each other and with the town in which they live.
All right, cool. Now it's a conceit that's been used. I mean, there was a show called the 4400 that used a very similar conceit of people disappearing, and then appearing, coming
and then
back,
reappearing,
and then having powers. And I think like it's a TV show that I think Heroes stole a load of story beats from. But what did you think about this? What do you think about the French doing this, taking this? We're going very international.
I think
this
sometimes.
Week.
Yeah. I think the French do some interesting dramas. Actually, I'm desperately trying to remember the name of. I think it was called The Returned, which the Americans remade, but it was basically this fog, and all the dead people came back.
Oh, The Leftovers, they're called in America, I think.
No, it wasn't Leftovers. It was the French one. It was.
I remember the American one. I remember it. But carry on. Yes, carry on.
Yeah, because I saw The Leftovers as well. But that was basically about how people who were killed in accidents were suddenly walked home one day, knocked on the door, and it was like, "Hello, I'm home." It's like, "Hang on a minute, you died 20 years ago," and everyone who died in the same year all came back, and then you see how life has changed, and that's all about an eco-drama as well. So I think the French have some interesting ideas. They don't always do the obvious thing. So yes, I actually liked it. It kept me watching and going back to see it, because I watched it in 2 chunks, 3 episodes each. And no, I did enjoy it. So I would give it a high 3.
Oh, all right.
I think it's good. It was good. It wasn't a high concept. I mean, it was by the time you worked out what was going on, So it wasn't a high concept, but it was still, to me, it was entertaining enough to keep watching. So I would give it a high 3.
All right, cool. High 3 for that. Good stuff. And seeing as I am contributing nothing this week, we go back to Shaun. So we go back.
You never contribute nothing, Tosin.
No, you're the anchor man. You're the nuts and bolts of this thing.
Why? Thank you. Thank you guys for coming with very, very kind words to hide my laziness. So,
we could talk about the Nightingale.
Yeah, we will. I'm saving the Nightingale for last.
Okay, that's cool.
Saving the lights. Okay. So I think we have Danger Close. So tell us about Danger Close, Shaun.
Okay, Danger Close, another Australian film.
Oh wow!
And this film, another Australian film, and it's got a subtitle, The Battle of Long Tan, and basically, it's a Vietnam film, and because I mean the Anzacs were there, the Australians they were actually in Vietnam, so and it's based on a true story which I didn't really know about, and I mean I'm quite au fait with Vietnam stuff, and it was called The Battle of Long Tan, and 1966, and it's basically this Australian unit, this Australian brigade, if you will, and they're getting mortared. They get mortared with the VC, MVA, so they decide to send out a patrol. So basically, I don't know if you've ever seen We Were Soldiers, but it's basically an Australian version of that, I would say. So I thought, yeah, this would be quite good. And the only other film that I've seen, which Sharon, you might have seen this, and it's a really, really good film. It's from about 1976, and it's called The Odd Angry Shot. I don't know if you ever seen that one.
No, I don't think I have.
No, okay. Well, that's Australians in Vietnam. It's a bit more. I remember with that one, you had the Americans and the Australians. Australians had a tarantula, and the Americans had a scorpion, and they made them fight each other. But anyway, that's another film. The Battle of Long Tan. Okay, it's basically so this Australian base is getting shelled, and then they decide that they want to find out. So they send out a patrol. Well, they send out about 3 patrols to try and find out where this is coming from, and they encounter a whole NVA and Viet Cong, practically regiment. So that, and then you've got this conflict because it goes to the base, and the brigadier at the base is saying, well, if I send more men and more reinforcements, I think they're drawing them in for an attack on the base. So, but where danger close comes from is when they're on the radio and they're saying everything out. It's basically danger close is when the enemy, the VC, the MVA are practically on top of them. So they go danger close, bring down the artillery on my position. So basically that's where that comes. And that happens with a couple of the units that are out there, and they get reinforced. And so it's basically a war movie based on a pardon?
A war movie, but with an Australian bend. Because the thing I quite like about Australian films and Australian cinemas, I think something like that makes me feel as if I could really get into it, is a bit like how you were saying about the French. They never do anything straightforward. I always feel like Australian films, compared to American ones, are usually quite low budget. So it means that they can't just give you the same old bombastic stuff American that where you've seen it before. They have to be a bit more inventive in the way they deliver it to you. So yeah. So does that hold true with this? Is it inventive, or is it just Australians doing America?
No, it's definitely Australians. And what I really, really liked is they had here we go. This is my I don't know what they call it, banal or whatever. Anyway, they had it was great because the weapons that they had was the British FLN, Belgian FLN, which is what the British Army had. So they're very much based on the British Army. So a few of them had the M16s. There were a couple that had, I think they're called Owen guns, the Australian version of the Sten gun. So there was a few of those. And it was like a fire-based artillery. And it all felt authentic. And you had the NVA and the VC, and they actually were, you could see the black pajamas of the VC, and the pith helmets with the NVA regulars. So it had a really, really nice authentic feel about it. And you could see what was great as well when it went back to like the base. They're at the base, saying, "Oh, should we send out the APCs?" And you've got armored personnel carriers, and he goes, "Okay, yeah, we better send them." And they're all like rusty and not all shot. Like in some films, you'd see them all polished up with nice decals, stripes and this. But these were like a bit rusty and broke, like they would have been, like they've been well used. Because the chap who's in charge of the APCs, he says, "Well, I can only get like 6 going, but I might better get the other 2 if I don't." So
essentially, it passes the Shaun's things make sense test.
It does pass the Shaun's makes things test, definitely, in quite a big way. And what's great as well, being based on a true story at the end, you get the actual photos of the actors and the characters that they were playing. Or you get the picture of the actual soldiers and the characters of the
actor playing.
Because what's really, really good, there's also conscripts. So you've got some conscripts and some regulars. And one of the majors, he says, you've got me all conscripts. What are you? They're no good. They're not gonna. I can't possibly work with these because they're all like young people. But some of them turn out okay, and in the end, so you've got a bit of a.
Okay. So how many stars would you give it?
Yeah. Okay, now this is an interesting one. I would probably have to give this. I'm debating between a 3 and a 4. I don't know why I'm debating, but I would say this probably would be more towards just a 3, because I didn't think, although I liked it, I did like it. It was really entertaining. It'd be a strong 3, but I don't think it quite merits a 4, because to me, some of the acting wasn't actually. I thought you could see it was acting. If you understand.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
It was like, that was you're acting. You're not in the part. So
I don't believe you.
Yeah, that was really entertaining. Yeah, I don't believe you. So there was a couple of moments like that when probably the actor who's playing the major, which I don't know what the actor name is, but I don't know if you've got the stuff there. So,
we have less
Major Harry Smith. So someone called Travis Fimmel. He didn't come over as quite genuine.
I like him normally.
I know that name.
Do you? Yeah. Okay. You know that name, Travis Fennell, Major Harry Smith.
He was in Vikings. He was Ragnar Lothbrok in the first 6 series of Vikings. 5 series of Vikings.
Oh right, sorry, Sharon. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Like 3 star.
3 stars. 3 stars for Danger Close. So I think the only thing we have left is The Nightingale.
It is, yeah. That's that. Well, unless you want to, yeah. I mean, there was a couple of other things, but yeah, The Nightingale, basically.
Yeah.
I suppose, could we count, just to tie it up, because we've seen 1, 2, 3. This will be 4 things on the thing. We could use the 3 Lord of the Rings, which will obviously be.
Yeah, but of course, Sean, we could do that. But the thing is that according to original rules, it can be something we've already seen.
Oh yeah, it's true. That's true.
According to I know
that's very true. That's very true.
I know because of COVID, a lot of things are getting messed around, and so we have to ask, but if there's not that much in cinema, because it looks like Dark Water Abyss was the only thing that wasn't around last week that was in cinemas this week. So could we still do it in a sort of yay, we love cinema, cinema's back? But it's the Lord of the Rings. Cinema is going to win. So
that's true. Okay, that's fair. Fair comment then. Fair comment.
So I guess we can say that this week we've had 3 Lord of the Rings movies, Dark Water Abyss representing cinema, and we've had Nightingale, Danger Close, The Last Wave, and representing Netflix and Friends.
Netflix and
Jackass.
We've already done The Nightingale. So yeah, no. So I mean, it would be. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but well, we can do that. But I think at the moment we're just going to celebrate the fact that cinema's back, and we're going to ignore the competition for a while, at least until I can get into the cinema, until the 21st of August, when I can get into the cinema, when I can watch things. Okay, let's say we will start rating movies again and putting cinema versus Netflix again. Tenet, when Tenet comes out, how about that?
Okay, that'll be a one.
That will be.
But I mean, there's going to be a few other ones that are out and about, aren't there? There's like Baby Teeth and.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
No, we'll call it Tenet. We'll call Tenet.
Oh,
Tenet,
okay, you're right. Baby Teeth. I'm actually looking forward to that. So, okay, from next week, we go back to a proper head-to-head where we say who won this week. Was it cinema? Was it Netflix? Okay, from next week we'll do that. This week we'll just revel in the fact that cinemas have been open for 2 weeks now, and we haven't heard a sniff of somebody trying to close down a cinema because people can't socially distance, which is to be rejoiced about, and which is to be things like, okay, cinema goers are more sensible than pub goers and beach goers. Okay, so to round us off this week, we're going to talk about The Nightingale. So I watched this last week. I came in and I told you guys about how much it affected me and what I thought about the film, and how it's a pretty strong film, quite a graphic film. And so, Shaun, you went to go watch that, and what did you end up thinking?
I watched that. Yeah, that was the one after your description of it. I thought, well, I've got to go see that. And yep, I agree with you. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty stark. It's really, really good acting.
Yeah.
I can understand why we didn't like, the horrible officer in it. I forget his name now.
Oh yeah. Sam Claflin. Yeah, I can't remember I can't remember the name of his character.
But anyway, yeah, it was some sort of officer, wasn't he? He was a horrible officer.
Yeah, he was.
And I thought the acting was Do you know which was quite interesting, was they used the word fella, didn't they, quite a lot? You know,
they used the word fella.
fella.
Yeah, they kept saying the black fella, a black fella, the white
black
fella,
a white fella. Yeah, which was quite interesting, and they did sort of I think, you know, the Aboriginal people, they did have that sort of mysterious awe about them, and when there was that other encounter, you know, that other encounter, which was it was quite brutal as well. If I was to say one thing, apart from all that, I did enjoy it. I did all that. I did think it was perhaps a little bit long in some parts. It was a little bit, seemed to me like a little bit long, like it could have been a little bit shorter. And I thought the towards the end, you know, when they're in the town. Some of the bits there, I sort of wasn't majorly, you know, I was a bit sort of, oh yeah, you know, stay there, don't come out, whatever. But on the whole, yeah, it's well worth a watch. It's a really good movie. So really, the only criticism I had to say that it's perhaps a little bit too long. That's you know, that's my opinion. I think it could have been slightly shorter, maybe 20 minutes shorter or something.
His character's called Hawkins. Sam Claflin's called Hawkins, who is one of the most despicable.
Yeah, it's horrid.
One of the most despicable characters that. And the worst thing about it is, I mean, if you look online, and if you type in Sam Claflin the Nightingale, he actually talks about how harrowing it was to play that character.
Yeah, I bet.
And the kind of effect it had on him to play that character. The worst thing about him is, like, I think for me, watching the film, I was like, he is the most effective horror bad guy I have seen. And the thing about it is because in almost any other film, that would seem like, you know, a pantomime villain. But with him, the way it's played, it's believable that this kind of stuff happened.
Yeah, that's it. It reminds me of Flashman in Tom Brown's School Days, that sort of thing. A real proper nasty bully.
Yes,
you know, and
bullied, entitled, believes that the whole world should bow to what he wants, and therefore he just treats everybody like absolute.
Yeah, and you can see the ones that, you know, the people that he bullies are. And yet, when it comes to like higher officers or whatever, he doesn't, you know.
He's an absolute kiss ass. He's
a proper bully. He's a proper bully, nasty bully. And as I say, the people that are his underlings, if you like, the people that he bullies, they obviously are not very nice people as well, because
they turn around and bully everybody else.
Yeah, bully everybody else that they can. Everybody who's weak in them, but. You know, I mean, it was a good film. I'm glad I watched it. And it also gives you some idea of the sort of past of Australia, doesn't it? Really, sort of. And I should imagine, although I think it was Tasmania, wasn't it? It was
Tasmania, yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's a great film. I love it. It is a sad film. It is a film that made me angry. It is a film that got me thinking about the world and humans and history and what happens and how things suck.
Exploitation. How everything was, you know, horrible. Even when it comes to prejudices and in that film, even to start off with, the what was her name? Claire, was it?
Claire, Claire.
Yeah. I mean,
played by Aileen Franciosi.
And she's racist, isn't she? She's still racist because to start with, and then
because the film starts off and it starts off looking like it's going to be all about how this woman is abused, and then you start realizing that this woman herself is actually a massive racist.
Yeah. And I mean, she is, yeah. So it's.
It plays with your allegiances. It's like, for goodness sake, she should go. Whoa! What did she just say? No. I thought that was a hero. I thought that was a heroine. No.
And that was what had a nice ring of truth about it, didn't it? You could understand. You know, she was like, you know. So yeah. No. It was a good film. It was a good film.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we agree on that one.
Yeah.
I'm glad we agree on that one. Okay, so I believe that's it. I think that's all we have on the Netflix and cinema news review stuff, and this is going to be our shortest podcast for a while. Well, I think we should. I think we should keep it. We should just take the win. We should take the win and go.
Take the win. Yeah. That's it.
Take the winner. Take the winner. Like
are you going to watch? Are you going to watch any of the? I know we've done them before. Are you going to watch like your Inception or any of those re-releases or Back to the Future or whatever? I might do it depending on the time. I might do Inception. But I don't think apart from that, I don't think there's.
I might do Jurassic Park because I never saw Jurassic Park in the cinema.
Oh, well, that'd be good. I mean, I have already seen Inception. I saw Inception in IMAX, so I'm not really sure on that one.
The Karate Kid, not so much. The only things I'm thinking for the first week, it might be Jurassic Park, might be Unhinged. If I feel like I have enough time, even though now because there hasn't been cinema around, I found out more things have been taking up my time. So I might not actually get back to. I might not get back to this one.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Onward again, if for no other reason, to get them more bums and seats, because I feel like that film was just so wronged.
That was a good film. That was another one we agreed on, wasn't it?
It's another one we agreed on. Yeah. It's that film. I feel it was so wronged by the coronavirus just coming and shutting down cinemas because then not many people got to see it, and I think that was a real shame. And Sharon, I'm not even going to try and make you watch it because it is animation. And if anybody's listening,
horse is dead. Yeah, don't flog it.
If there's anybody who's listening to this on Radio Public, because I've been registering the podcast on different podcast distribution networks, and there's one called Radio Public, and it asks for like descriptions of the different hosts. So I did put down descriptions of the three of us, and I did put down like the kind of films that we all like and stuff. Sharon, it was a typical thing that if it used to be a book and is now a film, you will be all over it. And although trying to make you watch something animation is tantamount to torture as far as you're concerned. Shaun, westerns, World War II movies. I said that Sharon can give Shaun a run for his money, westerns and World War II movies. And I also mentioned that you haven't found a movie in the last 10 years that's actually scared you. So maybe I'll read those out next week. But until next week, when I will try and finish watching something, and Shaun and Sharon still have the ability to go into the cinema. But this is so new. We don't even know what's being released. But maybe Baby Teeth is going to be out next week. I don't know. We don't know. But it's an It's once again an Australian film. What is going on? I know.
That's what I mean. They're all Aussie films, aren't they? Really?
They're just kind of like. It's almost as if they're using that COVID as a kind of, they're like, well, there's not going to be any American films to sort of like steal the thunder. Release all the Australian films.
Yeah. It's on next week. I've just had a look. It's on next week. Yeah. Sharon, do you fancy Tuesday 4:00?
Tuesday.
Do you want to see that or not really?
Yeah. That's possible. That's a possibility. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable.
We'll pencil that one in.
Yeah, it stars. What's her name? She was in Little Women. She played Beth. No, is Beth the one who dies? The youngest one in Little Women. Yeah, she plays Beth.
Beth is the one who dies.
Yeah, I cannot remember. Sorry, spoiler for Little Women.
Oh! I did see a trailer for this. I just seen there's another film on Pinocchio.
What?
Pinocchio.
It's not the Guillermo del Toro one, is it?
It looks like it. It's like a. It's not an animated one. Let's see what it says about it. No tweets about this film yet. Oh yeah, but
Eliza Scanlon. That's her name.
When I was in the Lord of the Rings and the trailers, and they showed the trailer for Pinocchio, and it does look very, very interesting. So
all right, good.
So
right. Until next time, when Shaun can watch those, and I shall just be standing in the room, crossing off the dates until the 21st of August. On a calendar on my wall.
Counting down.
In no way whatsoever like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, a film I still haven't seen. It's a goodbye from me.
I think you won't like it.
Goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Oh, okay, hang on. Before we're just going to roll the goodbyes back a bit. You think I won't like The Shining?
I think you wouldn't. I don't think The Shining would be your type. It'd be interesting. I could be totally wrong, but I don't think it would.
I have the DVD. It's been in I borrowed it from a friend of mine like 2 years ago, saying I need to watch this film because everybody keeps banging on about it. And as a film buff, I need to have an opinion, whether it's good or bad. I need to have an opinion about this.
Sure.
And the thing is that the way everybody yells and reveres and worships at the altar of Kubrick already makes me want to not like it. It already makes me want to not like it. But I will eventually watch The Shining at some point. I've seen clips and stuff of it because you can't escape clips and stuff of Shining, and I have a feeling that you might be right. I think there's going to be something quite Kubrick about it I will not like. But we'll see. We shall see. So let's try. Let's go. Let's dive in again for the goodbyes. Until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
You will hear us next week. Bye.
Bye.